And it's a good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, the people out there on Facebook or on YouTube who are just experimenting with their skills and learning how to make movies or whatever. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes and thought maybe we'd throw a couple things out there for discussion and ask the simple question: what did we learn with COVID? Sure, there's a couple things we learned, and some of the things that I see, I don't have all the answers, but I see that it almost ruined society. We had a lot of people sitting in their apartments or sitting in their homes, and they were scared to go outside because they were told that, oh, you got to stay inside because of the virus, and of course people believed it. Now I'm from the old school, and I've had the flu 4 times in my life, and one time I had to go to the hospital and have a shot of liquid put in my veins because I was kind of dehydrated and was coughing a whole bunch, and the doctor gave me a couple of pills, and in a couple 3 hours I was fine. And he phoned in the morning and checking up, and I felt great. And I think the one thing that I really see now is that people seem to be a little bit more outgoing. There's still the odd person wearing a mask, but not as many, maybe 1% or 2%. And I put it down to the fact that it's still fear. Now it's the fear of dying, and the belief in there that we wear the mask that it'll keep the virus out of us, keep the virus out of our lungs, and protect us from death. Well, the normal thing I've found over my lifetime is if you've got a bad cough or a flu going on, normally you go and see your doctor, and they'll give you something to help. They'll give you some medication, or they'll tell you, well, you need to drink more liquid, or what do you need to do to make the thing go away. And in most cases, antibiotics will do it. Some cases, because we're not drinking enough moisture as we age too, we get dry. Our system gets dried out, and we don't have enough moisture in our system to keep our blood working properly. So I see people are a little bit more outgoing now, but for a while it was bloody awful. You walk down the street and meet somebody, and they'd walk across the street to get away from you because they were afraid if they came near you, because they were talking about this 6 foot rule, and oh, you got to keep 6 feet from other people, and you know it almost drove people nuts. And because you hear so much crap on the news media, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that, and people are dying, and it was far no, it was so far from the truth because for me, I know the people at the local hospital personally because I watched my wife pass away up there, and so I would stop up and ask them how's things going. Well, we've had a couple of flu cases over the last 2 weeks or a month, but it's the same as other years. So if it was a really bad thing, you would see ambulances running 24 hours a day and stuff like that. And if you go up to the hospital, it'd be ambulances parked there with the doors open, loading people in and taking people out that were chucking up and sick. And that was it was way far away from what was actually going on. So right now, the only thing that I see now, like I say, is it's people are a little bit more outgoing now, and you can actually talk to people. I talk to people at the mall, or even when I'm walking at the park or down at the Waterfall Park, and people are only too happy to sit and talk to you and talk about the weather or talk about the countryside or whatever, and you socialize, and it's a great thing. In my particular case, my wife passed away after 55 and a half years, and so with me, you miss somebody to talk to. Like when you're married for all that many years, or yeah, as you sit around home when you over lunch or just or at bedtime or when you wake up in the morning, you're talking about what you're going to do for the day. You got some conversation going on, and you got this communication between two people, and that helps you pass the time. And there's always something going on where the lady might have to go see the doctor, or go downtown to buy some groceries, or just go to visit somebody and have coffee. So maybe as a couple you're visiting other couples, and in my wife's case she bowled with about 5 or 6 other ladies in town, and we used to visit with them over coffee or go and see them in some cases. And unfortunately, some of those people are gone now. In fact, in my wife's case, there's only about 2 people left from our bowling group. The rest of them are all dead. So we have to be thankful for what we still have, if we're still alive and we're able to talk to people. And the thing that I do miss is the comradeship. And I think, people, we have a couple been married for a long, long time, and one of them passes away. The other one suffers from the ability, lack of ability to have somebody to talk to on a regular basis. And it's more as a companion. As you get older, your companionship might not be as sexual as it was when you were younger, but you still have an ability to talk to people, have coffee, and verbalize and discuss different topics, and or plan an outing. Maybe you're going to go out and have some coffee, or go and have lunch or something. So you plan an outing, or you go and visit somebody. Maybe you go 30 or 40 miles away and go and visit someone, and kill some time doing that. And human beings are social animals, and we kind of crave companionship of somebody to talk to. So I push myself really hard in walking down to the park and down to the waterfall park. And when I see people there, I usually walk up and introduce myself and talk to them. And I mean, over the last week, I've met these 6 couples from Australia. It's kind of neat, these people are from other countries, and they've chosen Nelson in some cases because somebody they know lives here, or they've looked it up on the internet, and they look at Vancouver. So they fly into Vancouver normally, and they rent a car or rent a small motorhome, and they travel across. They normally travel across British Columbia, and they go to Jasper and Banff and into Calgary, and then around to Mulberry Bush and back out and fly out of Vancouver, or they may fly back out of Calgary. And some of the people I've met, they actually travel across Canada. So they fly into Canada on the west coast here, drive across Canada, and then fly back to New Zealand or Australia from the other side, from the area of Ottawa, Eastern Canada. It's a great thing to see people who are retired, or in their early 50s or maybe the early 60s, who just retired, and they have all their retirement savings are all ready to go. They've got a pension, and they're just having fun exploring the world. And so I promote them to travel up the Alaska Highway, go to Vancouver Island for sure, travel up the Alaska Highway, and go up to Prince Rupert, go up to Dawson Creek, travel up to Whitehorse up the Alaska Highway, and enter Anchorage, Alaska. In some cases, you can throw your car on the boat in Vancouver and take the ocean trip up along the coast, and wind up getting off the boat in Anchorage, Alaska, excuse me, and then driving back down the Alaska Highway. So I try to get people to do that, pardon me, because I know the area fairly well because we've been up there. We've done lots of motorhoming in that area. So I try to sell the trip based on what's to see, mountains and creeks and streams and waterfalls and salmon fishing and all kinds of good stuff like that. And you see bear and deer and moose and all kinds of stuff. And there's lots of hot springs along the road there. And then when you get into Alberta, out of the Dawson Creek area, you get into the farming areas there, and you drive along and see these huge wheat fields. You see fields there sometimes. You see 2 or 3 miles of solid grain, where the wheat is, you've got tall wheat growing or barley, and the whole field is bare. And when the wind blows, it's just like a sea. The wheat is waving in the wind. So you get the white color of oats, and you get the kind of a yellow color, light yellow color of clovers. And if it's flax, it's a blue color. So you get a variety of colors. It's like somebody took a huge paintbrush and went out in the field and colored the material. And when you fly over the crops like that with an airplane, it looks like a great big quilt, a colored quilt that you might put on your bed to cover your bed. So there's a huge opportunity of things to see. And it's nice. I try to encourage people to travel as much as I can, because when you get old, if you've got a couple $100,000 in the bank, you better make sure and travel and enjoy that, because you've worked hard all your life. Some people are working 40 years solid, never had a chance to take a break. They just, well, one of these days we're going to retire, so they work into retirement. And if their health is good and they're lucky, they get a chance to travel and enjoy their elder years traveling around and enjoying the country. Some people love traveling and some people don't. And so it's whatever you like doing. But traveling is a wonderful thing. You see so much of the countryside, rivers and lakes and waterfalls and mountains and hills and valleys, and you get some places where you have these big mountains like that, and you have a nice beautiful valley and the colors of the trees and the bushes, and this time of year we're going to get into the berry season pretty soon. You see Saskatoons and all kinds of good stuff, and sometimes you can stop and pick blueberries or Saskatoons and eat them, put them in a bowl and put some cream on them and eat them. So there's so much to do in the retirement. It's just a matter you have to, as a person, rather than sit in your house and watching television, got to push yourself and go out and have coffee and visit with people. And sometimes we meet some really neat people, people from other countries who've done different jobs, and we find out like in Australia, I've never been there, but you talk about these people and talk about the people who've been there, and they tell you what the climate is like and what kind of animals they got and snakes and what the weather's like and what the winters and the summers are like, and nice chance to share thoughts. That's one of the beautiful things about being retired. We have a chance to analyze other parts of the world with people who travel in our area. And when you see them coming into town, you normally spot them because you get used to the regular people in town, but then you see these stranger people in town and walk up and talk to them and say, hello, how you doing? And spend an hour. I spend almost 2 hours a day talking with 4 couples at the park. They're beautiful. Learn about the customs and music and the summer and winter conditions in the area, and what kind of jobs they work at, and it's a great thing. But as a retired senior, a widower, it's hard to fill in that time in between because we're used to having a companionship for all a number of years, and now we got to try and fill that in. And but watching television is not a good pastime. I don't even watch the news anymore because it's not the truth anymore. I have more fun going on YouTube and looking at country music shows and some of the old entertainers like Merle Haggard and all these guys, and look at them from the early days, see their early shows, and many of them are dead now, but they're still a good live memory. Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin and some of those comedians, and life is good, but we have to try and keep ourselves motivated in doing things that will entertain us. And talking to people is a great way. There's always so much to learn. So we wish you a great evening, and hope the month of August is good to you, and you will enjoy the color. The tree color will start coming out late August and September. As soon as the frost starts happening, we get the beautiful colors and all the leaves at the park, and you see the mountain tops start to color just kind of goes across the top, like Mother Nature took a big paintbrush and painted all the trees for us, and then the color stays there for a while and then falls down on the ground. And then the snow comes and it repeats itself every year while we're still alive. So have yourself a great afternoon and an evening, and we'll chat later.